Hello, everyone. Here I am back again. Redoing this stream over, or continuing it on, I guess. Would that be a fair thing to say? Let's see if this works at all. Hello, everyone. I don't see the comments. Let me know if you guys are here so I don't see any comments. Oh, there we go. If I watch them closer, I'm back. Oh boy, I don't have spell check on this thing. Yes, I'm back. Oops. And here I am at home now. Hey, Brad. Hey, Classic Americana. Watch him closer. And there's me. Sorry about the abrupt ending. Hang on a second. I'm going to grab something real quick. I'm live streaming. Where did it go that I was? Of course, I lost it. Oh well. All right. All right. So I had to tell the family to be quiet. Hi, everyone. Mrs. Jess Horst. What in the world? Oh, hang on a minute here. I gotta. I was watching that video. Oh, you guys can't see this. There we go. Let's go back to this one here. So the thing you were listening to was somebody talking about a kangaroo that they had rescued. All right. Let's see here. So in my last stream, I talked about out here, the city council decided to vote in to remove 400 parking spaces for bicycles. We hardly have any bicyclists out here. You know, where the city I live in, north of Portland, it's a big, giant suburb. It's not like a real city. They're trying to make it into a real city, but it just isn't a real city. It's a suburb. And people came out in droves to protest this, and they talked, and they said, look, we don't want to lose 400 parking spots. Excuse me, and guess what? They took out the parking spots anyway in the really dense part of town. What else we got going on here? Oh, here we go. This one I thought you guys would enjoy. The title of this one here is, for Black History Month, Teachers Mindful of Having a Safe Space. Oh, no, I wasn't sharing the screen. I can't access this website because they want you to pay them money, so I'm just going to tell you what's in my local paper. Guten Tag, peeps. Rational Wrongthink is back. He's all the way from Australia. Hey, where is everybody from? I'm out here near Portland, Oregon. I hope this crumpling of paper isn't too loud and annoying. All right, so what do we got here? Walk into the 5th grade wing of Columbia Valley Elementary School this month and you'll find a celebration of Black History Month. The walls are lined with key events of the civil rights movement. Picture books and chapter books about famous African American leaders are displayed in classrooms, and on February 21st, small groups of 10 and 11-year-olds sat in clusters for their latest edition of the Civil Rights Book Club, a month-long project challenging students to read and discuss about Black families navigating life in America in the 1960s. It teaches a lot about how racist people were, said Lily Sem, 11, in her group's discussion of the 2012 novel Glory Be. A 12-year-old having any sort of knowledge about racism, really? Oh my gosh. The book follows a girl living in a Mississippi town in 1964 where the public pool is segregated by race. It raises awareness, Alexia Moreno, 11, said in the agreement. Of course, another non-white. School districts in Clark County and across the country are taking the month of February to recognize Black History Month in their classrooms. It's a long-time staple. Let's see, when is this dated? Oh, is this dated March 3rd, too? It's a long-time staple of the American classroom, with deep roots reflecting gaps in the education system. What has since become Black History Month was first championed by Carter G. Woodson, a Black scholar who, in the early 20th century, observed that the story of Black people was not adequately reflected in American history books. In 1926, he launched Negro History Week, which President Gerald Ford in 1976 expanded on a nationwide month-long recognition. All right, so before I go any further, does anybody else feel like some deep sadness? I just feel deep sadness that all these people are being brought into our country to replace us. Hello, NorCal. Oh, I didn't look up. Let's see here. Let's see if we can look up. Okay, stop screen share. What? All right, here, let's do. Now I gotta listen to how you say. I can't spell pronunciation. Jerry. Oh, here we go. Jairai. And outside is mowing the lawn. Jairai. Look at that. Now we know how to say one of our white friends' names. How awesome is that? There we go. Did you guys see all that? Oh, it's somebody's name, Shauna. She's in the Jairai. Are you female? Hello, Clay. From Libby, Montana. Right on. Classic Americana, your what is Asian? Your girlfriend. You know, my son has a half Japanese girlfriend. And she, I don't know, she acts very white. Her mom's very white. Her mom actually carries, her mom's pretty badass. Rational wrong think. Okay, I'm a socially conservative libertarian with a left pragmatic economic view. I think ideas are more important than race. Rational wrong think. I've been around multiculturalism since I was in my 20s, so probably about 30 years. These people have lower standards and they're very annoying because all they think about is you will respect me. It's hard to develop any sort of, because I'm a very friendly, relationship-oriented person, if you haven't gathered by now. I mean, I can walk up to anybody and start any kind of a conversation, and you know, if I want to make them mad, I'll make them mad. So rational wrong think the M's. Yeah, they are considered Caucasian. It's not their race. It's their the way that they're raised, and it's just that if they were raised like us, they can't, because they're Caucasian. They can be, white, but it's just okay. So Arabs are Semitic people. Yeah, that's true. Oh, Susie, conflate culture with ideas. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Culture and, well, aren't they the same thing? Culture and ideas. Anyway, so I'm reading this article here. It's just, I don't even know how many non-white kids there are in my town. There's not really that many. Yet they make it sound like there's a whole bunch of them, and they have to learn about civil rights and how everything is unfair to all these people that don't even belong here in the first place. It makes me sad. I feel deeply saddened by it. Angry too, but more saddened than anything that people tell just blatant lies. Let's see here. This is January 22nd. Is Portland communist? No. No, we're not. Not really. Not out here. There's a lot of people who, because we're so white out here, there's a lot of people out here who think that that brown people are like us. They haven't had enough exposure to multiculturalism. And from what I understand from, we've got Antifa out here, but I've never seen Antifa outside of downtown Portland. Yeah, so in the Soviet Union, what they did was they brought in people from different regions and mixed them all up. I had a girlfriend years ago who was Russian, and she ended up, her family was shipped to, let me think, Azerbaijan, one of those, or is that from, or Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, probably Kazakhstan. She lived, and she said when she'd ride a bus, she was constantly harassed and molested. People, they put their hands on her. Okay, so Brad says, are all the Antifa folks even from there? You see them on the blue tubes all the time at protests, but there can't be that many commies in such a small area. Well, if you look at their group, they're just a group. They're not really, I don't think that they're from here, because most people are, I think that they were stoned out here. We're very nice people. The Northwest people, because it's always been, so white and so safe, people are a lot friendlier. We haven't lived, like in the South, they have Southern hospitality, but they've had to live around the grapes who aren't, that aren't, they know, people in the South know better, they had to learn the hard way. Let's see here. All right, so there's a school district out here called the Battleground School District, which is a bit northeast to me. Let's see, sex ed divisive issue for Battleground schools. The issue of sex education has been a point of contention in Battleground public schools. The district had spent more than a year drafting curriculum and tweaking policy around what to teach students, and before reversing itself, first eliminating a requirement that sex education be taught, except for 5th grade lessons on puberty and human development. Then, in response to teachers who said they were having to strip lessons out of their curriculum, the board added an exemption for elective classes. Hey Bob, how's it going? Hey Justin? Lori Dills, who oversees sex education for the state's Office of Superintendent, of Public Instruction. On Thursday, she presented the recommendations of a state work group that wants the legislature to require all public schools to provide some form of sex education to every student from kindergarten to 12th grade by the 2022-2023 academic year. Wow, kindergartners, really? Kindergartners need sex ed? The proposal certainly has its opponents, including politicians and parents who wonder why elementary kids need to know about reproduction and gender identity. A legislative hearing last week highlighted some questions and concerns. What do Washington schools currently teach about sexual health? If local school boards choose to go beyond HIV and AIDS prevention, they must use materials that align with the state's Healthy Youth Act, meaning the instruction needs to be medically and scientifically accurate, age-appropriate, and inclusive of all students. The state does not set a specific curriculum or require content, but it does define sexual health education as an individual's developing body, mind, and social interactions. The definition also covers skills to build healthy and meaningful relationships, choosing healthy behaviors, and understanding the influence that family, peers, and the media have on sex. That does not sound age appropriate at all to me. What about you guys? In 2018, the state superintendent's office surveyed all 295 school districts about sex education. Of the 285 that responded, 93% provided some instruction in at least one grade band. 65% in kindergarten through 5th grade, 86% in grades 6 to 8, and 75% in grades 9 to 12. Wow. Okay, so 65% of kids. See, of the 285 that responded, just a minute here, sorry. Wow, 65% were giving instructions to kindergartners about sex education. Let's see, students shared what they were taught in school on the Healthy Youth Survey in 10th grade, as 26% of students reported ever having sex. Oh my god. 10th grade? Was that? Oh, that's 15, isn't it? Still disgusting. Nearly 3/4 had lessons on preventing pregnancy and STDs, either through abstinence or other methods. In their senior year, about 4 in 10 students were taught about abstinence or other prevention methods, and 47% they ever had sex. All right, so when I was a youngster, when I was a wee lass, I was 17 years old when the first boy made any sort of move on me, and we were, mixed together. All the years that I've been going to school, I always sat next to the boys sat next to me. We had dances, we had all kinds of really fun stuff. We even did square dancing. Do you any of you remember square dancing? That was so fun. And never did I have any of the boys put their hands where they don't belong. I never felt threatened in any way. The first time I ever got any boy, I was actually over at his house and I didn't think it was a big deal. Then now if I had a 17-year-old girl boy, I would have her I'd have her handcuffed to me. I wouldn't even let her go out on her own anymore. But this boy, he started, I don't even know what he tried to do, maybe kiss me or something like that. Jesus. He's lucky I didn't punch him, because back in that day, you could get away with doing stuff like that. Oh yeah, we had the electric slide. Justin Lee says he's 47, had sex ed in the 5th grade. Common Core BS. Huh. I must have missed that, or we just must have been really backward out here. I remember we had this big thing about thinking skills, and all the parents were all up in arms about thinking skills. I mean, when you say thinking skills, it doesn't sound that bad, but these communists always got something. Let's see here if I can find it. Just a second, I'm gonna. Find something. Let's see if I am signed in here. Nope, I'm not. Let's see if we got anything fun here. I was working on some videos to make, and I just kind of got tied up in getting some work done. I'm planning on leaving Dodge here. You know what? If you're familiar with that expression, Dodge. Some of you aren't from the U.S. It means just getting out of town. I want to leave. You know, I've been here my whole life, and I just can't take it anymore. I can't take the communism. I can't take the, I just can't take any of it anymore. Just want to leave. Oh, hello, Elvicuro. Elvicuro says, all I care about right now is rib eating skills. Yeah. Rational wrong think. The reason kids don't play outside has a lot to do with the lack of men in the homeschool. It's not safe anymore for kids to play outside. Rational wrong think. When I was a kid, I lived in the middle of nowhere. Up in our house was, in a cleared area, but I was right up against a wooded area, and we didn't even. Gosh, and my mom went to work when I started working when I was 10. And we just did whatever we wanted all hours of the day, except for you had to be in for dinner and you had to get your chores done. And, and I lived on a farm too, so I had to take care of animals. In the morning, I had to go out and we didn't have the cows. The cows didn't stay calves forever, but we lived across the street from a dairy farm. And, across the street means there was like a public road dividing our property. And you had to get to the dairy farm. They had this massive driveway you had to drive down. Anyway, so we would get a couple of calves, and every morning I had to go out there and I had to feed the calves giant bottles every morning, and every day when I got home from school, I had to do that, take care of the pigs and the chickens, and I had horses. And what else did we have? We didn't have like a lot of livestock. We just had a couple of horses, a couple of cows, just enough, and the pigs and the chickens, just enough to raise and eat. I don't even remember. I think we had 5 acres, something like that. So it wasn't an enormous farm. It was kind of more like a homestead. And then we had this massive garden, and I was given a bucket, and I was told to go weed. And then when my cousin came up from California, she's like, no, go put some dirt on the bottom, fill it full of leaves so you don't have to weed. And then, Dad finds out. Of course, I get a spanking. I don't talk to that cousin anymore. She causes me too much trouble. All right, what do we got going on here? Why does it say new comments and there's nothing? Let's see if I have to. Sorry, I was talking to my computer, not you guys. I have a love-hate relationship with electronics. Sorry about that. Yeah, it wasn't working. I wasn't seeing any comments, so I refreshed, and it kind of cut us off. Did the ADL kidnap me? Oh, I bet you the ADL eats a bunch of soy. I could probably take him out with a look. What did my CPU say? NorCal, I don't even know what a CPU is. I wouldn't even know if it was talking to me. Seawater is screwing up the stream, yeah. It seems fine. Is it working now? Boomer tech. I just actually got this computer. A guy out in Chicago who refurbs Macs, Macintosh laptops. I don't even know what this is. This is MacBook on my thing. We're all good, huh? All right. Let's see if we got anything else to get mad about. Oh, let me go to. Hang on here. Let me find. Oh, CPU equals computer. Okay, thanks. I don't even remember the name of. Oh, maybe I can find it in here. Channel. It's always easy to find a channel when you say something and it pisses people off, and they always got to respond. Hang on here. I'm looking for it. I'm surprised you guys put up with me because I'm like borderline ADHD. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's one. All right, so I'm going to play a video here. Hello, Captain Flatbills. Let's see here. Justin Lee says, ever since I got Apple, I've been stupid when it comes to any other. Yeah, Apple just spoils me. Captain Flatbills, y'all ready for HIV pneumonia and drown like a fish out of water in your final moments? Me either. Elva Quiroz and what is this? A Linux snob. Justin Lee, my laptop sits on the porch and I only use iPads now. Which distro? I don't know what that means. Okay, rational. Let's see. Emma Rocker, hum during downtime. Oh gosh. Well, I already had told somebody told me that I shouldn't sing. Don't sing. I like to sing. It's not that I'm any good at it. I like to dance too, and I'm just as good at dancing as I am singing. Yeah, a lot of people don't like Apple. I like using Apple. I like their products. I just don't like the company. Oh, okay. Let's go and watch this video. Let's see. Let's put it on share screen. Got to push a couple buttons here to make it share. Then I'm going to hit this. Okay, so it might be kind of loud. I apologize. All right, you guys, here we go. I don't know how to adjust the volume if it's too loud on your end, and I apologize for that. Here we go, we'll play it. I know these are Canadian. This is about Canada, but it's very similar to the thing that we're going through. So I thought this might bring us some insight, because what we have to do is we have to battle the narrative. When people say multiculturalism is okay, we have to have evidence that it's not. Thanks, Redneck Worm Farm. Okay. I have a plan B. Because I'm awesome like that.
In conjunction with Students for Western Civilization's latest postering campaign. There's a protestation against...
Okay, here we go.
This first episode of We Europeans is being released in conjunction with Students for Western Civilization's latest postering campaign. There's a protestation against recent threats to tear down or remove a number of sculptures and other symbols of European Canadian history, culture, and identity.
How's the sound? Is it too loud?
Podcast on European identity in the 21st century. In this episode, we will explore Canada's policy of multiculturalism. We will demonstrate how multiculturalism possesses not only the additive or constructive element about which Canadians have been thoroughly informed, but also the subtractive or destructive element, which is not as widely understood.
Yep, is that better?
We will argue that this subtractive element is best understood as ethnocide, which is defined as the deliberate destruction of the culture of a people. In order to illustrate this point, we will explore the parallels between the liberal project of multiculturalization and the neo-Marxist project of decolonization. Finally, we will argue that these two projects, although driven...
Alright, well, sorry about that. I just shut it off. Should I continue playing this audio or stop? No. Oh, it was okay. Okay, I'll continue then.
by different motives, ultimately arrive at the same result: the destruction of Western civilization. What is multiculturalism? Often the term multiculturalism is used to refer to a situation where multiple cultures live together within the same shared space, such as, for example, in New York or Brazil. For the purposes of this podcast, we will use the term multiculturalism to refer exclusively to the guiding philosophy of the Canadian government, the official title of which is multiculturalism. Canada's policy of multiculturalism was implemented in 1972 as an attempted solution to ethnic conflict. The policy is modeled after an older political philosophy that was used to resolve religious conflict in Europe, especially England. The solution at that time was to sever the formal relationship between religion and government. The term that's most often used is separation of church and state. The theory behind the separation of church and state is that no single religion should be uniquely enforced with government power, because doing so marginalizes those religious groups that are not officially institutionalized and puts them in a politically vulnerable position. Multiculturalism is a duplication and extension of this model, repurposed to address cultural and ethnic tensions. Just as the religious model separates church and state, multiculturalism is the separation of nation and state. Multiculturalism views a country not as a vehicle to advance and protect the interests or values of a specific group, but instead simply as a space for economic exchange, with no assumed national mission and no specific people for whom the country exists. Multiculturalism says this space belongs to everyone, and therefore to no one in particular. The multicultural model departs from the traditional view of a country as a nation-state, whereby the state or government exists to serve its nation. For example, the Japanese state exists to serve the Japanese people, to reinforce their values and protect their interests. The multicultural model, however, is premised on the idea that the country doesn't have a people. Its people doesn't even exist. The traditional model assumes that the people belong to the country and the country belongs to the people, but the multicultural view is that the country belongs to no particular people and no particular people belong to the country. Thus, Canada's policy of multiculturalism is defined by two characteristics. The first is that there is no default or true idea of what it means to be Canadian. There is no culture or people or ethnicity that define what it means to be Canadian, and no standard against which Canadianness is measured. The second characteristic is that because there is no one group that defines Canadian, Canada does not exist to serve the interests of a particular group, culture, people, or ethnicity. Because from a multicultural perspective, a Canadian people doesn't actually exist. They have no legitimate claim to Canada over any other people. Chinese, Indians, Filipinos, Pakistanis, etc. have just as much claim to Canada as anyone. Multiculturalism and ethnocide. From its beginning, Canada's multicultural project was plagued by a structural flaw, which is that its foundation was built on uneven terrain. The flaw is rooted in the historical fact that Canada did not begin as a multicultural project, but instead, the multicultural model was imposed on an already existing nation-state, whereby the state acknowledged the existence of a definable Canadian people, a people characterized in large part by their European lineage, history, and culture. Thus, assuming that a Canadian people, or a Canadian nation, does indeed exist, a fact once explicitly acknowledged by the Canadian government itself, but which the new multicultural regime now denies, negates, and rejects, then what are the implications for the future of that people? Naturally, a conflict of interest arises between the pre-existing nation with whom the state formally aligned and the advocates of multiculturalism, whose policy necessarily assumes that a Canadian people does not exist. The implication of this contradiction is that the project of multiculturalism changes from a merely passive project of being multicultural, that is, operating with a neutral blindness to different cultures, to an active project of multiculturalization, the process of dismantling the society of the former nation-state in order to transform it into a nationally and culturally neutral or culturally secular space. In other words, if the successful operation of the multicultural model assumes that a Canadian people does not even exist, then in order to function, multiculturalism must make them not exist. A holistic understanding of the multicultural project is not complete without appreciating that multiculturalism is not merely an additive project in the sense of bringing in other peoples and cultures, but it is also a subtractive, destructive project, which necessarily involves removal and erasure. This process of erasing, subtracting, or removing the cultural and political remnants of the Canadian nation from shared common spaces is appropriately understood as ethnocide, the deliberate destruction of the culture of a people. The term ethnocide was coined by Raphael Lemkin, a United Nations lawyer who created the term to refer to a concept of cultural genocide. Types of ethnocide. In discussions of ethnocide, it is often noted that cultural destruction is not clearly distinct from the physical destruction of the actual people. Instead, cultural destruction should be understood as one end of the broader continuum of genocide. This becomes clear when we consider the different forms in which ethnocide manifests. On the one end of the continuum is what I would term peripheral ethnocide, and further along the continuum is what I would term structural ethnocide. Peripheral ethnocide involves removing our cultural symbols and erasing our history. Cultural symbols and historical memory are politically significant because they serve as political glue or mortar that unifies a people as a political force. Having cultural symbols around which to unify helps a people to better conceptualize themselves as an entity and unify in defense of that entity. Concrete examples of the peripheral ethnocide of European Canadians include removing European Canadian heroes from public spaces, such as the decision in 2016 to remove Robert Borden from our banknotes and replace him with Viola Desmond. In 2016, the removal of John A. Macdonald's statue from Wilfrid Laurier University. And in 2017, the calls to remove John A. Macdonald's name from public schools. Calls to remove Egerton Ryerson's name and statue from Ryerson University. Removing from Halifax any statues and other references to its founder, Edward Cornwallis. In 2014, the removal of the sculpture of Winston Churchill from its place of prominence in Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto, where it used to stand facing Queen Street, but now stands with its back to the street, tucked into the corner, where it's not even visible to the passing crowds. Another example of ethnocide is the movement to remove the Eurocentric perspectives from our school system, thereby erasing our perspectives on history, the world, and ourselves. Further along the spectrum of ethnocide is structural ethnocide. Structural ethnocide is more political than peripheral ethnocide in that it involves disempowering European Canadians of our ability to assert ourselves in general. Structural ethnocide is the bridging point along the continuum between peripheral erasure to more violent forms of oppression. Concrete examples of structural ethnocide include anti-discrimination laws. Anti-discrimination laws strip Europeans of our classically liberal right to decide what we do with our property and our resources, who we do business with, and who we employ, effectively co-opting our property and giving it to other peoples. Affirmative action and diversity policies. While it is illegal for Europeans to discriminate, it remains legal to discriminate against us. Not only is it legal, but with affirmative action policies whereby the government subsidizes companies that meet diversity quotas, not only is discrimination against Europeans legal, it's encouraged. The implication of this policy is that the government is actively working to remove Europeans from positions of power and influence in private companies. Mass immigration. Immigration policies that reduce our proportionate numbers undermine our democratic autonomy, our powers of self-determination, our ability to elect our leaders and decide on the policies that affect us. Co-opting the Canadian people's resources and institutions. Like a pathological autoimmune disorder, whereby the immune system begins to attack its own cells, the process of multiculturalization co-opts all of the resources of a people, including their government institutions, and uses those resources to destroy the very people who created them. A particularly perverse element of the co-opting phenomenon is in regards to the military and paramilitary forces, such as the police. The Canadian nation has been paying into and working to strengthen these forces under the assumption that they existed to protect them. But now, as enforcers of multiculturalism, those military and paramilitary forces are being used to enforce the laws intended to erase the very people who built them. To be clear, while it is my position that the process of cultural erasure is indeed deliberate, such a position does not necessarily presume on the part of multiculturalizers a hostile or antagonistic sentiment towards the West, white people, or European Canadians. Indeed, my position is that multiculturalism is a genuinely liberal project, motivated by liberal values such as goodwill and a desire for peace and strong economy, and that the ethnocidal expression of multiculturalism is possible in large part because this ethnocidal effect is not fully realized by its goodwilled liberal advocates. However, the same cannot be said for the Marxist project of decolonization. What is decolonization? Critical race theory is a neo-Marxist doctrine composed of a package of related ideas. To begin with, critical race theorists assume that race is an illegitimate category with no concrete scientific basis. To them, race is a mere illusion created by white people as part of a conspiracy to justify the colonization of the world and to divide the working class. With the invention of race, so the narrative goes, came the invention of racism itself. Critical race theorists define racism very differently than the rest of the English-speaking world. To them, racism is not merely the thoughts, actions, or feelings of individuals. Instead, racism is an entire systemic phenomenon, which manifests as the system of white supremacy. In the eyes of critical race theorists, the assumption of white racial superiority is ingrained and interwoven into the very fabric of all white Western countries. Because white people are raised in a culture built on this assumption of white superiority, according to the critical race theorists, all white people are racists. Furthermore, because the critical race theory understanding is that racism is necessarily rooted in assumptions of white superiority, it is inappropriate to label non-white people as racist, no matter what those non-white people say, do, or feel towards white people, or even other non-white people. As evidence of the fact that all Western countries, including multicultural Canada, are actually white supremacist countries, critical race theorists point to the fact that expressions of European cultural identity are found everywhere. We speak a European language. Our government is built on European philosophy. We are surrounded by buildings built in the style of European-derived schools of architecture. Our television shows and films are filled with white actors. White/European perspectives on history are taught in our schools. Flesh-colored band-aids and crayons are the colors of European flesh, etc. All around them, European-derived individuals find their ethnic identity affirmed and reinforced. In other words, our societies are white supremacist in the sense that within the West, white European Western culture is supreme and dominant. European-derived societies are not culturally neutral. They are, in their character, European. From this view, there is no difference between a white supremacist society and simply a white society. In their eyes, the mere fact of white people's societal existence is itself inherently racist, supremacist, and immoral. People are racists because we exist on a cultural, societal, and political level. In their eyes, it's not just that we are all racists, it's that we are racism. Neo-Marxists are opposed to the continued existence of white societies for two reasons. The principled leftist Marxists, many of them white themselves, believe in equality as the highest ideal. Thus, they view the hegemony of European culture within European-derived societies as a negative, because they believe that a space should be equal in every way, including culturally and politically. The second motive among those who fall under the classification of neo-Marxists comes from those non-European ethno-nationalists who attach themselves to the political power of the Marxist collective and use it to advance their own ethno-nationalist agendas. These ethno-nationalists are motivated in large part by resentment of Europeans, which is fueled by their comparatively lower social and economic status, as well as historical grievances flowing from colonization and the unrivaled military dominance of the European people. This is where decolonization comes in. Marxists seek to dismantle and deconstruct the system of white supremacy. Their professed aim is to make Western societies no longer Western, but culturally and politically neutral, equal, or secular. The overlap between Marxist decolonization and liberal multiculturalism is self-evident. The defining difference between the two projects is essentially rhetorical, semantic, and thus superficial, but the ethnocidal results are identical. Whereas the liberals behind multiculturalism do not necessarily hold hostile sentiments towards the West and are instead motivated by liberal ideals of peace and good economy, the Marxists behind decolonization view the West and Europeans/white people with hostility, hatred, and contempt. Appreciating the parallel between these two approaches is useful in understanding that multiculturalization is certainly not a benign project, because it employs identical means and technique as those groups who are fervently hostile and antagonistic towards Western civilization. Conclusion. In conclusion, a complete and holistic understanding of multiculturalism necessarily involves acknowledging both its additive or constructive element, as well as its subtractive or destructive element. Because we're speaking about the culture of a people, this subtractive element is appropriately understood as ethnocide. Parallel to the project of multiculturalization is the neo-Marxist project of decolonization, which in practice and technique is identical to the destructive expression of multiculturalization, but it is characterized by its hostile motives and far more explicit assertion of its destructive agenda. Appreciating the parallel between the destructive function of liberal multiculturalization and Marxist decolonization, and correctly labeling it as ethnocide, helps European Canadians to better identify and conceptualize it as a threat, and hopefully will inspire them, as well as Europeans around the globe, to recognize the need for an organized resistance in defense of our collective interests.
That's it. All right, that's it for that one. What did you guys think? Now this one showed up in my mentions. I'm thinking that we're being funneled in some sort of echo chamber. I don't know why I would get something like this in my mentions. Why? Why am I even allowed to still be on here? Some of the things that I say, I don't understand. Everybody else is getting booted. Is it because there's not actually, YouTube is not actually booting people? It's people that are mass flagging. Oh, and I tried to post the word, 2 words, redneck. You can't put that on there. It kept showing me I needed to change what I was saying. So irritating. Let's see. Let's go up here and we'll read some of the comments. Hello, Novi Hansa. Hello, Bear Sing Gatorix and Sorry about that, you guys. What in the world is playing back there? Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, hold on. Something is playing. Hang on here, I got all kinds of stuff going on. Thank you. What in the world do I got going on here? Thank you. Only me. This doesn't happen to anybody else. Wow, what is that weird sound in the background? Oh. There. Fix that. What is that? Are you a robot? Josh, no. Do you guys hear a whistling sound? What is that? Sounds like I dropped my device. What in the world? Why would you have this whistling sound? Oh, it's getting better, right? He's still wagon wheel. Let's see. Oh yeah, Star Trek Connects. Oh, it's from the headphones. All right, is that better for you guys? There's still a high-pitched sound going on. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can fix this. Don't even know what that sound is. Crap. Let me shut down all my other windows. No, I don't got a TV in the background. Oh, feedback loop ascending in pitch. I have no idea. Just shutting down all my windows that I have open. See if that helps. God, that's weird. Alright, line in, built-in, output, sound effects. What's this? Okay, you guys, I have no idea what any of these things say. Or what they even mean. Oh! Just a second here, let me shut this off. Alright, so I just shut off the volume so you guys can't hear the cell phone too. Did that get rid of it? No, I'm not in slow mode. Did it get rid of that high-pitched sound? No, it didn't get rid of, yeah. Didn't get rid of the high-pitched sound. Sounds like crickets. Oh, I'm good now. Okay, so that was definitely user error here. Oh, did you guys want to know about what's going on in Greece? So Erdogan decided that he was going to release. Oh, there's still a 10K here. Okay, oh, really? All right, let me. World would play user interface sound effects. Play feedback when volume is changed. I don't know. Let's shut those off and see if that helps. How's that? Is that better? Oh, I'm not even a boomer, and you're teasing me about being a boomer. How'd that work? Do we still have? I guess I could turn this up. How'd that work? Oh, that sounds fine to me. We still have? I guess I could turn this up. Are we good? Oh, that awesome. Sounds fine to me. We still have? I guess There we go. I got my cell phone volume turned off so you don't hear me twice. Crickets make it sound more rural sounding. All right. You still hear feedback? There is a noise. I thought it was bugs outside until I put my ear on the speaker. All right. Call me on your jitterbug. I'll help you out, Boomer. I need lots of help. A Boomer, sure, yeah. I'm hallucinating now. All right, what's going on in Greece? Erdogan decided that he was going to unleash, I guess he's mad about not being able to be part of the European Union. He is unleashing like 1,500 migrants. Being haunted. Yeah, I am haunted. I think that's pretty funny. 1,300 or 1,500 migrants directly onto the Greece border. Greece said, nope, ain't gonna have it. They put up fencing. They've got guards. They're shooting at people. And I saw a video. I was gonna post it, but it's coming out so fast. I don't think I can keep up with all the news coming out of Greece. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mrs. Jess Horst is correct. Erdogan's mad that he can't be European. Anyway, so I saw the latest video I saw was some sort of military or armored vehicle, whatever, tearing down the fencing. They're putting cables on the fencing and tearing it down so that the migrants can get through. And the migrants that are making it through and getting arrested, none of them are Syrian and none of them are migrants. They're all just, well, I mean, I don't know, they're economic migrants, I guess you could say, or soldiers, or from Syria, not Syria, I'm sorry, from Afghanistan, Somalia. Yeah, it does look like Alvakiro 555 is correct. It looks like that Erdogan is trying to recreate the Ottoman Empire, and it was one of the worst empires for Europe and for the region that it controlled. They were very cruel. If you read any of the history, a lot of Europeans were fighting back, and a lot of them, their rebellions were squashed and people were executed. It's just horrible. Irksome be gone. Yep. Spray Erdogan with roach killer. There you go. NorCal, you taking off? Anyway, so the best person to follow if you're interested in finding out about what's going on in Greece would be Poseidon. He lives down there, and I'm still waiting. I asked him for pictures of his lemon trees because I'm so jealous. I'm still waiting for that. He probably has better things to do. Good night, Mrs. Jess Horst. You have to feed your little wolves and get them bathed and ready for bed. They're not old enough to do it themselves. Good night. The refugees are well-equipped fighting-age men for the most part, as we say here in Australia. Where are the women? Yep. So the media keeps showing a bunch of women, mostly women, a few young, pathetic men amongst the migrants, when we all know that it's soldiers, fighting-age men. Ottomans were so bad that the response required to stop them led to the mythology of Dracula. That's right. That's true. You know something I thought that, and if you guys are familiar with Vlad the Impaler, the things that Vlad the Impaler did to intimidate people, it's the migrants that we have coming from our southern border, that will not intimidate them. They can't, they're very violent people. The Ottoman Empire slaughtered many Slavs and other Europeans. They'd send cavalry armies to attack small farming villages. Yeah. That's very true. Europeans should be very terrified about that. Vlad the Impaler, he was no joke. He apparently was a slave, and he was taken slave by the Ottoman Empire. He learned the language, learned about the people, and he was able to defeat them, which was pretty amazing. So amazing he survived to grow up and get rid of him. They would have been able to get rid of all of the Turks out of Europe if it wasn't for, I think it was a Hungarian king. He was unwilling to give Vlad the support he needed. I think he was worried that somebody else was going to take his throne. Something like that. Wow, there's 19 in my chat. I think, is this the highest I've had? I don't really pay attention to the number of people here. I mean, if it gets down to 2, I get a little bit nervous. Like I'm talking to myself. Jairay says there's a blog called Vlad Tepes. Oh, you know something, Jairay? There was, you guys were talking about somebody who just got booted off the YouTube and they're on BitChute. What is that person's name? It starts with a V. Valhalla or something? No, maybe that's wrong. Maynard Crow, are you asking me if I'm from Kelso? No, not from Kelso. Varg. Okay, Varg. Yes, that's the one. I don't know if we can intimidate these people that are coming in here. They're pretty violent. They intimidate us. Vercingetorix. Oh, I was trying to post stuff on my own friggin' stream and I got this red notification saying that I couldn't. And then I needed to reword it. Kelso from that 70s show. Oh yeah, my chat. I don't know, they're all being censored. We're not saying you're doing anything violent because the only way to win this war is by ideas, you know what I mean, and the attitude. People get tired of multiculturalism, they're going to say no, and it's going to end because we have to use the people's veto. Violence does not actually win a war. Or not, you know, when you're in a civil war or or an occupied even. I don't know. According to, if you guys, yeah, it's the bots doing the censoring. According to White Rabbit Radio, just keep up with the narrative and saying things to people that if they say something that's anti-white, just say, oh, so you're anti-white? Or one of my favorite things is, so there's over 40 M countries, and why are you living in my Western country? There's over 50 African countries. Why would anybody of African descent want to live in my white country? Are you trying to tell me that you're anti-white? Sounds like you're anti-white. Just really lay the, because you know mostly you're dealing with white people, and you gotta lay the guilt on really thick. And we should be good at that, you know, because it's our own game. We should be able to lay guilt pretty thick on people. You know, one of the things I really hate doing is washing dishes. And somebody guilt tripped me into washing of my dishes. And I guilt tripped myself because I was telling them about how much I hate it. No, not from Woodland. Nope. Maynard Crow, if you send me an email, I'll tell you all about myself. I just don't want to do it on, there you go. Nobi Hansa has it. I said something to somebody about Texas cities that are American erased. Turkey is flooding the borders of Greece, yes, and they're playing dirty and they're tearing down barriers. But people in Greece are tired of these migrants. They can't blend in as well. Here, you know, in the United States, we've been forced to have, you know, everything in like 500 different languages in the larger cities. And like on my city's website, they'll have a drop-down menu and everything's translated into, I think, 15 different languages. Yeah, I think I think the Greek are fed up, and it's always the people's veto that stops invaders, and you have to come together as a group. In America, it's going to be the Second Amendment that brings us. It is the Second Amendment that is bringing us all together. You remember Charlottesville? That brought everybody together. Not everybody, but it brought a lot of people together. Even people who hate Trump and agree with multiculturalism. That was the line in the sand. There were some people who were like, "Oh, it's so neat to see so many walks of lives coming together." They just really think that this civic nationalism is actually effective when it's not. It's the reason why we haven't had any innovation since about the 80s. We don't have any innovation anymore. Did I say something else? I didn't say Richmond, Virginia. Bob made ice cubes in an egg carton tonight, and it's an all-out invasion. How long? I guess, I can't even... Oh, I guess I've been on for an hour and 13 minutes. Well, that's kind of nice, when I got... when my computer died, that I was able to just get back, or, boot it back up and get back on. Gosh, there's just like so many creepy things going on in our culture and our country. And at least, I talked to some people in different cities that aren't like mine, that don't have as many foreigners and doesn't have any programs for them. They don't have like free clinics or whatever. It's just really nice. I really miss America. Charlottesville, I don't know if Charlottesville brought us all together. Charlottesville was a wake-up call for the people who were watching the live streams. Hello, White Healing. How are you doing? I think there's a couple new people in the chat here, or at least in the watching the video. Redneck Worm Farm says, "Give races a break. Not all are bad." Sure, I'll give them all a break. They're not all bad, but just stay in your own homelands. Don't care, Okay, rational wrongthink. The attack on innocence of children is the thing I find the most interesting. Yeah, that is pretty appalling. El Vaquero says the U.S. has literal warlords on its southern border and lefties want to open the floodgates. Yeah, I got 22 people watching. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for watching my show. I'm sorry I'm not as interesting. I watch some of these other live streamers and they're pretty cool. One of my favorite live streamers is The Hard Bastard, the Hard News Network. Gosh, I watched him for a long time. He does such a wonderful job. At first, I had a hard time watching his stuff because he would show a lot of leftist things, and I was like, gosh, I just feel physical pain watching this. But now I appreciate it because now we know what's going on. Let's see here. Bobcat, things I want to say will bring door knockers, right? I want to say a lot of things, but you can still get on the phone and talk to people and talk about it. You just got to find the right people. I've just been really blessed that I come from a family that is very concerned about this situation, and I'm very blessed to have friends that care about what's going on. NorCal, no, I don't watch No More News. I don't like that guy. What's his something green? Don't care for him. I don't know if he's never on the Bobcow, never on the phone. I just talk about it on the phone. I was pretty surprised. My brother, he was talking some pretty serious stuff, and I was like, whoa, and he said, don't worry about it. They already listen in on our conversations already. They already know how most of us are feeling. Rational wrong. Think I used to wash dishes, but I find rats are very effective cleaners and require less chemicals. Yeah. Okay, Justin Lee. I don't know what an SEK factory or SEK factory is. Oh, Adam Green. Yeah, I think he's controlled opposition. I just can't watch him because he's so boring. Yeah, I've watched some of Adam Green's stuff. Just, I don't know. It's good to watch and see what people are doing. Oh, you know, one that I can't watch is, what's his name? David Pakman. Gosh, and that last name. And he just says blatant lies. And he either knows that he's lying, or he's just somebody who just can't look for something outside of his what is it, internal or unconscious bias, right? Unconscious bias. Did you donate a lemon to me? I haven't figured out how to do DLive yet. I just got my computer a couple days ago here, and I don't know how to. I can do DLive as a. That sounded great, didn't it, Duty? I can participate with DLive and comment and do those little what do you call those things? The little videos. Whatever. I love those. I really like DLive. David Pakman, I just don't understand him. He's just so far out there. And some of these people are just, if you watch CNN, just like, really? You cannot be living under a rock to think such a thing. Oh. American Life 7022. Green pretty much plays clips of the tribe talking about their big plans. Let me put that one up here. Chat, say something nice about your Fed. Did I just do the wrong one here? Oops. Gosh. How's that for skillful clicking? Just a minute here. There you go. I watched to see the kosher comments. That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't understand this beer flu thing here. It's people are freaking out about it, and there's 11 people that have died or something. Either they're spraying it on us, or somehow they're exposing it. They're somehow passing it around in the air. Yeah, I'm up here in the Northwest. It's pretty white out here. I don't really run into too many non-whites, and when I do, I run into a non-whites if I go to the mall. The only time I ever go to the mall is to go to Victoria's Secret to buy underwear. You can never have enough underwear. I think I have about 20 pair of underwear. When it goes on sale and they send you coupons, I have a Victoria's Secret credit card with a huge balance on it, and I always pay it off. And every time I pay it off, they send me a $15 gift card. Oh. I don't know. I don't think that anything is going to come of this. I had a video that I got ready to post about the coronavirus is going to be, let me see here, how many days? By the end of this month, there's not going to be any more new cases, which really surprised me to read. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I was reading somewhere that by a certain date, we're not going to have new cases of the coronavirus. I'm thinking, wait a second, that's not possible. You can get influenza all year round. The reason why you get it during the winter months is because we shut everything up, and and people are, hot, cold, and that weakens your immune system. NorCal, hard to believe you're from Portland, the Portland area. I used to be really brainwashed by the libshittery. I really was. I used to, let's see, when we had September 11th, I remember people putting out flags, and one of the thoughts in my head was, well, that's not nice. That's going to offend people that aren't from here. Can you believe I thought that? Can you actually believe I had that thought go through my head? And I didn't say anything to anybody. It was just a thought I had in my head. And then as time went on, as people became more and more, a degenerate around me, I grew up very, very religious, very, very, very religious community, very religious friends. I still have very religious friends. I'm very religious, but just we didn't have the degeneracy, or we were more appalled by the degeneracy. And then all of a sudden I see it around us, and I'm thinking, we need to bring the Bible back. And at that time, too, I thought I was an atheist. And even as when I thought I was an atheist, I was like, gosh, we need to really bring the Bible back. We need to start teaching kids the Bible, start living a Christian lifestyle. How did I get red pilled? Seeing all the degeneracy around me, I think it was pretty gradual. No, I have another story though. I mean, it started out when I saw the degeneracy, and I'm like, gosh, we need to live more biblically. We need to bring the Bible. Bible needs to come back into schools. Kids need to be taught this. And then as time's going on, I'm on Facebook, and I see this Heilgate. Do you guys remember Heilgate, when Richard Spencer had a story featured about him in the Atlantic, and 4 people did the Sieg Heil or whatever, and it was people who were in politics out here in my city, like political leaders. They're getting all dewy-eyed and going, oh, I can't believe they did that. That's just so awful. People just freaking out. And so I said, wait a second here. That's really weird. And so I watched the videos, and I was like, I don't understand why people are getting upset over Sieg Heil. What? That's just a hand raised in the air. Why would anybody get upset over that? Why are people thinking that we have Nazis these days? There are no Nazis. Nazis are from World War II. Nazis are from Wonder Woman, Hogan's Heroes. You know what I mean? Oh, yes. Richard Spencer's got some issues. Is Richard Spencer a Fed or controlled opposition? Well, he's been on mainstream media, both the left and... Has he been on Fox News? I know he's been featured in some stuff on leftist media. Is he controlled opposition? Either that or he's stupid. He's not really that bright. El Vaquero, the Nazis that we didn't kill started the EU. I don't think it's per se the Nazis. It's just the folks the elites that rule over us. No matter what happens, there will always be elites ruling over us. And El Vaquero, I think it was more Bolsheviks than Nazis that started the EU. They sound more like Bolsheviks. I'm not real familiar with I know something about Nazis, but because there's more Bolshevism everywhere, it's just easier to understand that concept for me a little bit better. I could be wrong about everything, though. It's always a possibility. The longer I live, the more I realize I don't know. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Bible. I got something for you here. All right, so because we have so much degeneracy around us and different races of people, here, this is where it is. There was different races of people, and then we also have these elites who are reversos. You know, they seem like they're demon possessed. And so I asked one of my religious friends about the big flood. Who exactly was killed off in the big flood, and who exactly was on that ark? Were there different races of people on that ark? Does anybody know if different, besides Noah and his children, because we know for a fact there's no way that a white person or a black person is going to manifest into something completely different based on where you place them. You know, there's been black people living in Chicago for how many years, and none of them have turned white. None of them have adapted to the environment. So, who were in? My friend. You know what my friend said? My friend said that angels are not earthly. Yeah, NorCal, it was animals. That's what we were told. Two of every flesh. So if you take the time to just really look at people, and because we have multiculturalism now, you can see there's different types of hominids. You don't have to, watch any, Robert Sapir videos. You don't have to read anything. If you look at people and you can see how different they are, you know that they all didn't come from the same place. So, were these different races of people that we have now, were they animals that were on the ark? I mean, doesn't that sound really harsh? Yeah, I believe in creation too. Communism just means that we're just blobs that somebody controls. Just do what you're told. Shut your mouth. Don't think out of line. Don't be out of line. It's like having an evil stepmother in charge. You know something? I've looked up the definition of fascism. It just doesn't stick in my head. I don't know. Yeah, I think fascism and communism, they're just brothers. The Garden Gyre says, Garden of Eden is from a Persian religion. You know, there's this big movement now for people to be pagan because that was European or something like that. And the thing is that Christianity is European. Christianity embraces all facets about Europeans. It's a European religion. What is the word I'm looking for here? I'm getting sort of tired, so my brain is running a little bit slower than normal. Self-control. That's what, patience. That's European. That's biblical. You know, it's taught in the Bible. Be patient. Have compassion. You know, hedonism, narcissism. That's something of. I mean, everybody's got that tendency, but in some cultures, that's to their benefit. That's how they survive, is with hedonism and narcissism, right? But that's not us. Justin Lee, so many people believe in National Socialism. That's just plain stupid. You know, the socialism part of National Socialism, I'm just not in agreement with it. I'm not in agreement with the government owning the means of production. I'm not in agreement with subsidizing weaker people's existence. Why? Because your family needs to be in charge of that. If you cannot survive, it is your family's responsibility to take care of you. And most people start out being able-bodied, you know, and eventually we get old, and we need our children to take care of us, and we need to rely on our savings, rely on the wealth that we've accumulated over, 60, 70 years of our life. But when the government gets involved, people just don't, families break down. People just don't have the same relationships with their families when the government's there to, to be their parent. And you have to have for your both in your emotional health. There's so many people that are doing hard drugs, suicide. It's all because families don't rely on each other anymore. And people that move to the United States from foreign countries, they don't need their family anymore to survive. They can come here, they can get some sort of service job or whatever, and they can live. And then, just welfare brings out the worst in people. And I don't really want anything bad to happen to people, but, your family needs to help you out. They need to be the ones that keep you in line, too. Kick you in the butt when you're being irresponsible. Make you save your money. Is anybody else from Europe besides Jairai? Gosh, I got 26 people here. Welcome, everybody. Thanks, you guys, for watching my live stream. I really appreciate it. I have all these conversations in my head, and I really don't think that I'm that interesting of a person. Clay M says it's way past time to cull the herd. Yeah, welfare has destroyed us. And people who have not fallen into the trap of welfare, welfare is okay in some situations. What if your whole family died? But I don't know. Before welfare, when I was younger, I got this $60 electric bill, and I had no idea how I was going to pay this $60 electric bill. It was just too overwhelming. I called up the electric company. I was responsible. I said, I can't pay this bill. They gave me a place to go to. I guess I did have a phone at the time. And I gave my bill to some guy, and I was making, I was just chattering because I was nervous to be there. I was nervous and embarrassed. And he paid the bill. I was just so thrilled. How much was I making then, or was I even working? I think I was making around $3.50, $4, probably $4 an hour at the time. $4 an hour times, 40 weeks? 40 weeks, am I saying 40 hours a week? How much is that? $1,660 a week. Can you imagine trying to live on $160 a week? El Vaquero says, welfare from the church would be much better because there are strings attached. I think that back when churches were in charge of welfare, we had a more homogenous society and people knew each other. And so this is a big deal. People knew each other, and you couldn't scam because people were trying to scam them. And now that people are so mixed up and all over the place and transplants, it's easy to scam the system because nobody knows that you're a scammer until after, they catch you scamming. You can't be caught beforehand scamming. Yeah. And people are saying, well, we need to do something about healthcare. Healthcare is so expensive. Something, when I was making $4 an hour and I didn't have insurance and I had to go to the emergency room or have surgery or something like that, they did it, and I had a payment plan. It was like $35 a month for the rest of my life. And I remember some people kind of joking about that. White healing. We need to be one entity no matter how displaced we are. Well, the more displaced we become, the more will be drawn to each other, because these, multiculturalism, all these people that are coming in, they're not our kith and they're not our kin, they're not our neighbor, they're not our brother. Even the Bible says that foreigners are not our brothers or neighbors. I think it's in Esther talks about that. The crickets are back? What do you mean? That there's some weird sound? I don't know what 10K HZ sound. Crickets never left. Well, let's go back here to, where is this? There's birds outside. They're getting ready to go to bed for the night. When is it even? Let's see, sound. I probably have to get a new microphone. I have a thing on here that says use ambient noise reduction. It's probably my headphones. Yeah, American Life 7022. I believe I do listen to Dingo Southern. Two fellas, right? Usually two fellas talking. KHZ kilohertz, 10 megahertz. Let's see. When I was young, I lived in a shoebox in the middle of the road and had to lick the road ocean with my tongue. Oh, that sounds yummy. White Healing, we will be a global collective. Given how hard we're pushing to reclaim our identity, we've been forced into recognizing that we're different than other people when we just thought we just were. Makes me angry. Makes me so angry. Justin says he lives on 783 a month. I can't even imagine, Justin. I need a wool sock over my microphone. God. I think I'll put a plastic bag over my head. Would that help? Oh, clean it was meant to say not ocean. Does Sammy know how to redneck worm farm? Does Sammy know how to fix it so that it doesn't sound like crickets or sound weird? Or are you just giving me a hard time? Yeah, Justin, you need a side gig. Why don't you try selling your body? Am I going to get in trouble? Don't hate me for saying that. If you have cash exchanges, no, he did say that. Oh, let's see. I can't put a sock over my microphone. I don't have a microphone. I have the earbuds. Justin, are you still here? Did you run away? Was I rude? Justin Lee, I'd need chubby chasers. Don't we all? Oh, by the way, I started a diet about a week ago. The starvation diet. Just kidding. So I cut out carbs and, not just random carbs. I cut out starchy vegetables and sugar. And I've been eating mostly cheese, meat, some lettuce. Last night I had green beans for dinner. I lost 10 pounds already. And you guys seen some of my videos where I look like a whale? I'm not really that fat. I'm kind of chubby. But I'm a really teeny-weeny person, and I did put on some weight. I had to take some medication for just some health problems I had, and it made my thyroid stop working. Oh, I'm starving to death right now. I've only had a couple of pieces of cheese. And then I went out to Trader Joe's and I got some chocolate that has it's sugar-free chocolate. Elvacuro, you lost 20. For a second I read that and I thought it said 200 pounds. You lost 200 pounds in 3 months. Excuse me. All right, I'll have to get in touch with Sammy. Is Sammy listening? Andrew Nova, vegan is bad for white people. You know something? I did vegan for 3 years. And I had a heart attack. And because my iron levels got so low, it didn't cause any heart damage. I got lucky. I got really lucky. NorCal, nothing wrong with thick Susie. Well, you know, the big thing with being gaining weight is when you don't fit in your clothes anymore. You know, I'm 50, so I've spent years carefully accumulating my wardrobe. And when I can't wear the clothes, because I bought really expensive, durable clothes to last forever, and when I can't wear them and my feet get too swollen, I can't wear my boots. You know what I mean? It's just depressing. And then I gotta wear because I say, oh, this is just temporary, and then I buy something ugly to wear, and now I feel ugly. Dagbreaker says, I did that diet you're now on as well. Managing portions are important as well. You know something, Dagbreaker, since I got rid of starchy vegetables and sugar, I'm eating about a quarter of what I was eating. I don't really have to eat that much. Jairai says, neither veganism or keto is good for humans in the long run. We are omnivores. That's right. Elvacuro says, I don't think I've purchased ground beef in 5 years. Well, I went out and bought 16 pounds of ground beef the other day. It was on sale for $3.99 a pound. And I went out and I got, how many pounds of beef and chicken? I just went and got a whole bunch of food. It went on sale. I am a little bit nervous about this coronavirus, not because I think I'm going to get this virus, but I think that we're going to be in lockdown or some sort of martial law. And I've always been concerned about that. And plus out here, we have earthquakes. Now that I'm in the city, or sort of in the suburbs, I used to be out in the country, we would have power outages, but it was no big deal out there because we had a furnace, and I got to make sure the pilot light's on. Anyways, I'm really digging this this diet that I'm on. I'm not even going to call it anything. I'm not going to call it keto. I'm not going to call it Atkins. I'm not going to call it anything. I'm just going to call it the me diet. Just trying to eat as little as possible so that I can drop 50 pounds. I want to get back down to 125 pounds. It's nice when you're 125 pounds because you don't have a gut that's in your way when you bend over. I can bend over and touch my feet, but it's just no fun. And then when you look down, I just like having a flat stomach. I've never had a six-pack, though. Never tried either. But I used to be able to, just a couple of years ago, I used to be able to do about 500 sit-ups. Elvacuro says, I like beef, but typical grocery store beef is crap. Gosh, no kidding. I don't get beef from the regular grocery store. I get it from the specialty store I heard called Chuck's. And I don't remember the name of the farm that they get their beef from. Justin Lee, I get grass-fed beef from Pennsylvania. It's Longhorn cattle. It's delicious. El Vaquero, I just go out and kill elk and help people butcher them too. Do you? Hold on a minute here. Alright. Let's see here. What do we got? Dagbreaker, you are a tiny question mark. I'm 6'6", 243 pounds. Well, I'm 5'5", and my normal weight is 125 pounds, which I am not right now. BBM add number 11. I get meats from the Mennonites. Ooh, that's cool. I'm jealous. Oh, let's see. Rational wrong think you need to eat. Just eat the right stuff. Under eating put your body in survival mode. You store body fat and use muscles, etc. No, I'm eating high fat foods. I'm eating cheese and meat and vegetables, just not sugar, grains, and high starch foods. I ate a can of green beans last night for dinner because I had already eaten cheese and meat. Let's see. I made some hamburger into some sort of meatloaf, sort of Greek seasonings in it, and I cut it up and I mix it with my lettuce and put some yogurt and some feta, cucumber, mix it all together, eat that for dinner. I'm just cutting back on my calories. When I get thinner, I can eat what I want. You know, when I was younger, a few years, a couple of years ago, I used to go to Voodoo Donuts out here in Portland, and I'd get a dozen and I could sit down and eat 6 of them. Cindy Ben says, I follow Summer Size, a low-carb program. Rational Wrong Thing took an interest in diet. Yeah, I used to work in a naturopathic clinic, and we used to test people for candida and food allergies all the time. I love Voodoo Donuts. It's so good. They got bacon, maple bars, and then they have something called a Portland cream, which is kind of like Boston cream, but better. Yeah, rational wrong thing, fair enough. Laying off sugar is a great idea. Use honey instead where you can, or molasses. Even granular sugar is bad. Yes, granular sugar is processed. It is bad. So I have maple syrup and sugar. I even got some monk fruit, and I didn't get, like the white monk fruit. I went and spent a little bit of money on it, and it's brown and it tastes like brown sugar. I was really surprised. Kind of an ugly looking fruit. Diets always work better when we're younger. When I was young and I thought, oh, you're kind of fat, I'd just go a day without eating and I'd lose about 10 pounds and I could fit back into my clothes. Donuts are the breakfast of champions. Oh, yes, I cannot even disagree with that. Justin Lee, my Saturday morning donut may have been the hardest food I've ever quit. You know what makes weight loss easy is when you pull out your best looking outfit and you just lay it out so you see it all the time. And anytime you want to cheat on your diet, like eat sugar or French fries or something, you just look at your beautiful clothes. Well, I mean, fellas, I really hope some of you fellas don't have clothes that you call beautiful. That would be strange, wouldn't it? But just, a favorite outfit that used to fit you really well. I was told that fellas don't wear outfits either. American Life, I just cut into a New York strip steak, medium rare. Not bad. I like my meat medium to medium well. But medium rare is okay. I'll eat it as long as it doesn't try to eat me. I don't know. I'm concerned now that I'm losing weight, that if I don't move a whole bunch and exercise, because the last time I gained weight, I exercised to lose the weight, and so I didn't have any sagging areas. And now that I'm losing weight through diet, I hope that I don't have any sagging areas. That would be pretty gross. I've seen some people who are extremely obese and they lose a ton of weight and they've got sagging skin. Now I'll pass on that. But anyway, I got some what is this from Trader Joe's. It's called Simply Light, sugar-free, gluten-free, no trans fat. And I bought it to mix it in with some sort of fat bomb that I made because I couldn't find any sugar-free chocolate chips. And the milk, I like the milk chocolate. It's sweet, it's chocolatey, it tastes good. What's in it? It has maltitol, cocoa butter, whole milk powder, chocolate liqueur, inulin, natural vegetable fibers, soy lecithin, or lecithin, vanilla, contains milk and soy. I don't eat like the whole bar in one sitting. Let's see. Cindy says I buy 100% cacao chip chocolate chips, also 85% cacao. I have the cacao nibs, and they taste pretty good if you take a banana and you dip it in right into the nibs. You don't need any sugar or anything like that. I gotta move the papers around here. Sorry about that. Move some other things around. The darker the chocolate, the less sugar. Yep. Yep. Oh, I like dark chocolate, but I just grabbed a bunch of different kinds of chocolate bars from Trader Joe's. I just wanted to see what they tasted like and what I needed to put in my my fat bomb thing that I was making. I gave up on the fat bomb thing. I just just have a piece of cheese when I get hungry. It's kind of nice, you know. I got some there's some Chuck's had this cheese that was on sale. It's some sort of brie, and I just grabbed a bunch of different ones and I didn't really pay attention. And then the first one I opened, it has truffles in it. It's like, oh my gosh, truffles are my favorite. I love truffles. I even love truffle mac and cheese. I'm so spoiled. Truffles are super expensive, and the truffles in this cheese are nice and thick and crunchy. Usually things that have truffles in it, they go really light because truffles are expensive. Alright, what did Rational Ron King say here? I was meaning more the meals you eat, but yep, cheat snacks are okay, but if you enjoy your meals, you're less likely to want to binge on junk. Absolutely. Today I went to Burgerville to go get the puppy dogs their hamburgers, and I had ice cream and hamburgers and all kinds of they had their rosemary French fries. Can you believe that's one of my favorites? And I was able to say, nope. Let's see here, did I miss? I'm sure I apologize if I missed reading anybody's comment. Let's see. Justin Lee, PA lives 3 miles away. Pennsylvania lives 3 miles away, or you're 3 miles outside of Pennsylvania. El Vaquero says, no, there is a butcher shop in the back of the gas station in Datil, New Mexico that has the best beef ever, but I have a freezer full of elk. Okay, El Vaquero, elk is kind of dry. Do you cook it in butter? Rational Run, think. Oh, I read that one. Okay, read that one. Cindy, is your diet working? It worked better when I was younger. Yeah, I read that one. That's so true. Gosh. I miss my younger body. Alright, El Vaquero. The problem with the standard American diet is so much carbohydrates that people's bodies lose the enzyme and cell receptors to burn fat. That's why people see results in keto for weight loss. So we have a lot of hormone disruptors in our food. Let's see here. Have any of you guys ever tried monk fruit? Straight men don't have outfits, right? Straight men, do straight men have favorite clothes that they try to fit into? Does anybody know? It's not like I don't know straight men. I can just call my dad or my brother. Oh, Redneck Worm Farm, he's going. Have a good night. Thank you so much for joining us. Justin Lee, vegetables are what my food eats. I like that's my favorite right there. That's a riot. Oh gosh, I think we need to. I wanted to do, you know how a lot of these YouTubers are doing T-shirts and mugs or whatever. So I think vegetables are what my food eats. It's funny. Oh, is there anything? All right, you guys. So, is there anything that I say all the time that is unique to me that would be funny on a mug or a T-shirt? Right. If God didn't want me to eat animals, He shouldn't have made them out of meat. It's so funny. Oh, Jaira, you never did tell me if you were male or female. I'm assuming by your picture that you're female. Oh, hello, white people. Beef me up, Scotty. That's so funny. Pigs deserve to be eaten for tasting so delicious. You know something? I've had turkey bacon, beef bacon. Nothing tastes quite like pork bacon. Hello, white people. You like that? I think maybe we need to print out papers that say hello, white people, and tape them all over colleges and see what sort of hysteria we get. Let's see here. BBM ad number 11. I would order a mug that said, hello, white people. Rational wrong think. There are only two sorts of bacon, normal bacon and long bacon. I guess in Canada they have, in Canada do they have Canadian bacon? Do they call it Canadian bacon in Canada? I've been to Canada a whole bunch. I live near Canada. It's harder to get into Canada because I don't have a passport these days, but you know, you just used to show them your driver's license and that was good enough. And it really wasn't so hard to get into Canada. It was harder to get back into the United States from Canada. Elvicuro, I want to put up flyers that say Islam is right about the gays. Lots of Islam right about X things that would make people flip out, yeah. I really like making people mad. I kind of live for that. It's really fun. American Life 7022. Have you tried the old style cured bacon, the kind you can carry around in your saddlebag out on the range without it going bad? No, I have not. Watch them closer. Don't they call it ham? I think so. Canadian bacon is cheaper ham. Oh, cheap ham. Rational wrong think. Isn't Canadian bacon just bacon with sweet stuff poured on it? No, it's more like ham. Just thinly sliced ham. American bacon equals, or Elvicuro says, American bacon equals cured pork belly that is cold smoked. Canadian bacon Canadian is back bacon, and I don't think it's cold spoon. Okay. Sean Shaw, if you're brown, you can get into Canada. Yeah. I'd like to claim asylum, and I have no country, and I don't speak English either. I don't have any paper. Oh, Clay M., thanks for joining us. Have a really good night. All right, we are at the 2-hour mark, you guys. 2 hours and 2 minutes, almost 3 minutes. I think it's time to wrap it up. Any last words from anybody? Good night, everybody.